that's still the case nowadays for a lot of young dancers and musical theater types. They go to New York and they take dance classes and they take voice lessons and they take acting classes and they get that picture and resume ready and they go to open calls. And if you're talented and you're lucky, sometimes you get an equity show, a union show from an open call. It's tough, and you have to hit that pavement. And sometimes, getting to know, being in the right place at the right time. I was mentioning to you before that I booked this HBO commercial and I met a dancer on that show who said, "Hey, you'd be right for the show. And one of the guys is leaving the show and they're having auditions at the theater and you should go." And that's how I got my first Broadway show.
You're listening to Screenwriters Need to Hear This with Michael Jamin. Hey everyone, it's Michael Jamin. Welcome to Screenwriters Need to Hear This. If you are an aspiring theatrical actor, I got a present for you, and we're going to unwrap him right now. And his name is Rick Negron, and he's been my buddy for many years. He's at my wedding. We go back, Rick. Now, Rick is most famous for he's done a ton of stuff though, but he's probably most famous for playing the role of King George in the touring company of Hamilton, which he's been doing for 4 years. But he's done a ton of Broadway stuff. We're going to talk about him. He's also done voices. I didn't know this, but he was also he did some voices in Red Dead Redemption as well as Grand Theft Auto, which I want to know all about that as well. But mostly I want to talk about his incredible theatrical acting career. Rick, thank you so much. Thank you so much for what
Michael Jamin. I'm in the room where it happens, man.
This is the room. What people don't realize is that I recorded some of this and I didn't record. So yeah. This is part 2 of our interview. I had to record over because I wasn't recording.
Stuff happens. And you know what, Michael, you and I can talk till the cows come home. This is not a problem.
This Rick is a great guy, and he's going to tell us all about there's so much I want to get out of you. But first of all, we were talking about is you've been doing Hamilton. You've been King George in Hamilton, the first Latino King George, I might say, which is a big deal. And so, yeah, you've been touring the country from city to city. And I kind of really wanted to talk to you about like what is your day like when you go up on stage? What are you doing before? What you're doing all before that, before you go on stage? Because you've done how many performances have you said you've done this?
I'm over 900 easily. I'm close to like 950. I don't count them, but every time the company management has like, "Oh, this is our 900th performance," I just kind of go, well, I've only missed maybe about between vacations and days that I've been sick, maybe I've missed 30 at the most over a 4-year period. So I've done a lot of performances.
And we were talking about this, and your character, like I hate to make you repeat it, but how do you get psyched up before each show when you do that many shows? What's your process before you run on stage?
Well, this character is a real gift in the sense that it's beautifully written. Mm-hmm. It's just 3 songs, honestly. Uh-huh. I'm on stage for a little over 10 minutes, but it's so well written that if I just hook into the words of the songs, I got them. Uh-huh. I can hook myself into that character very easily just with the words. But the other gift is that I have time to get ready. So when we're at places and the show starts, that's when I get my wig on. I still have 15 minutes to do some vocal warm-ups and get dressed. And then
are you sipping like tea with lemon? What are you doing that day?
Nah.
No?
I mean, I'm not a huge tea guy unless I'm having some vocal distress, and then I do like a nice warm tea with honey and lemon if my voice is a little wonky or my throat's a little sore. But the main thing for me for vocal capacity is sleep. If I get less than 7 hours, my voice suffers. If I eat a lot of cheese and dairy, that's going to be a lot of gunk on the vocal cords.
But if you're nervous the night before, but if you're nervous, if you get stage nerves and you can't sleep the night before, right? I mean, no, well, or are you beyond that?
Yeah, I'm beyond that. I mean, I've been in the business long enough that that I get nervous, and
Uh-huh.
God knows I was nervous the first time I did the show in front of an audience in Puerto Rico, of all places. That's where
Right.
we opened
Right.
with Lin-Manuel Miranda back in the role of Hamilton after being away from it for a few years. That was a dream job because I'm from Puerto Rico, and I literally went back home
To a
to
hero's
star in
welcome.
one of the biggest shows on Broadway with Lin-Manuel Miranda and me playing the king. I
Yeah.
was born like 4 blocks away from the theater that we were at. It was just crazy sauce. So yes, I was incredibly nervous opening night, and there was my wife, my sister-in-law in the audience. Yes, really nervous. But did I lose sleep the night before? No, I slept like a
No.
baby.
Really?
My nerves
See,
don't really hit me until I start putting on that costume.
really? I
Yeah.
see. I would imagine, to me, I mean, I know it's a big deal to be star of a movie, but to me, this to me seems like a bigger deal, what you're doing in terms of it means like you're the lead in this giant freaking play that's, I mean, one of the biggest plays, of our time, seriously.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you play this character who, the minute he walks on stage, the place goes nuts because you hit a home run and then you walk out. You're the home run guy.
Exactly.
Bye, hello,
No
and
expect
bye.
and by the way, no expectation. I literally walk on stage and the place goes bananas and I haven't
Yes,
said a word.
right. They love you before you haven't even said anything. I mean, what a huge, I don't know. I just think this is like, I don't know. If I were an aspiring actor, that would be the part. I don't see how I don't know where you go from here, Rick.
It's all downhill. No, I guess, listen, the beauty of it is also that I've had this really long career.
Mhm.
And, I started out as a chorus boy on Broadway and then worked myself into understudy and then did some roles. And then finally, at a ripe old age, I've gotten this great job. And I've really, I'm at the point in my life where I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the traveling because I've toured some, but I haven't toured a lot. And this tour has been to some really great cities, all on the West Coast, up and down the West Coast,
Yeah.
the Mountain West. In the winter, I got some snowboarding in Salt Lake City, Denver.
Where
I
are you
went,
supposed to do that with you? If you break your leg,
yeah. I'm not supposed to do that. Can we delete that from the podcast? No,
you
I'm
can
kidding.
take that.
It's in the past. I don't care.
Okay.
I stayed on the bunny slopes.
Right.
I really took it easy. But then we spent summer in Canada, which was amazing. I was up in Calgary in the summer and went up to Banff for the first time in my life. And my wife Leslie, who you know well, came up
Yeah.
to visit, and we stayed on Emerald Lake. And I just spent 2 months in Hawaii. So this tour has just been amazing. Well, it started out in Puerto Rico, as I said,
Right.
for a month with Lin-Manuel Miranda, and then we went to San Francisco and sat for a year in San Francisco. So I got to live in San Francisco for
Right.
a year and experience that incredible city until the pandemic, and then we shut down for a year and 4 months before we started up again.
And then, so how did you start? How did you start? Like, take me back. You take me back to when you were a child. Did you, I mean, did you dream of being a Broadway star like this? Like, what happened? Who dreams of that? Like, I mean, you all dream of that, but who achieves it, I guess?
Well, a lot of people do. A lot of people do, and not everybody has the path that I had. But some of us get bitten by the bug early on, and I got bitten by the bug when I was 10.
Right.
And my mom was the drama teacher at school, and I guess I blame her for everything. But
This must be the best. Like, you must be the crowning achievement in her life.
yeah, she's
Look what I
pretty
did.
proud. She's pretty proud. And I have another sister who also went into theater, and and so the whole family kind of, it was the family thing. We all sang.
Right.
We all did musicals in the local community theater and children's theater. So it was a family thing for us growing up. But I'm the one that sort of got bitten hard. And then I got involved like at 14.
Mhm.
A choreographer I was doing a children's theater show said, "Hey, you've got some talent as a dancer. I'll give you a scholarship at my little dance school." And so after school at 14, I would go take ballet, jazz, tap, and acrobatics after school with Susan Cable, who luckily was a great dance teacher. She had been a chorus person on Broadway,
Wow.
and that's how I started in my dance career. And then it kind of took off. And by the time I got to college, I thought I was going to be a concert dancer. I was in college. I was sort of groomed to possibly go into the Paul Taylor Dance Company, and I actually was um, not on scholarship. I was a intern with the Paul Taylor Dance Company for a while until I realized I'm making no money. I'm working super hard, and I've always wanted to be on Broadway. That was my real
So
dream.
those people don't interchange. Those concert dancers don't. They don't.
Some do. It usually the concert dancers, if they can sing,
Right.
will sort of move into the musical theater world, and sometimes move back into the concert dance world. One of the great concert dancers of all time, who I met when he was super young, Desmond Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lead dancer with the Alvin Ailey Company for many, many, many years. I mean, a god in the dance world. And now he owns his own, he runs his own dance company, Complexions, and he's a great choreographer. And he was in the Bad video with me back in the
Right.
day with Michael Jackson back
Right.
in
So Rick was
1985.
in the. I should say for the. I don't want to gloss over this. Rick. Rick was in a dancer in the Michael Jackson's Bad video, directed by Martin Scorsese, with
Yeah.
Quincy Jones produced. And
Yeah, 1985. I was a chorus dancer at the time. I was doing my second Broadway show, The Mystery of Edwin Drood. My dance captain was Rob Marshall, who went on to direct Chicago the movie and many other movies since then. Um, and and while I was doing the show, there was this audition for the Bad video, and yeah, it was really surreal. I took vacation from the Broadway show to do the video, and got to meet Michael, who was really sort of like, it was two people in that body. I mean, he was super shy and sort of very reserved, but the minute the cameras went on, he became somebody else. And he
right.
was a perfectionist. 25 takes sometimes every setup. And Scorsese was famous for just burning through film, easy 20 takes. The video was supposed to shoot for 2 weeks, and I think it went for 4. And this is a music video. It was the first SAG music video at the time, by the way.
Really.
Anyway, Desmond Richardson was a young dancer at the time. There were a lot of young New York dancers in that show. And he famously went into the Alvin Ailey Company, but then he also worked on Fosse, the musical, and he also worked on Chicago, the movie with me. I got to work on Chicago, the movie, because I had this great relationship with Rob Marshall, and I was invited to audition. I didn't get the dancers don't usually just get the job. You still have to come in and audition.
Right.
But even though you know the people involved, it just is the way it is. And there was and Desmond and we bump into each other all the time, and we have so many memories. You know, going back 20, what is that, 85,
Yeah.
1985 was the Bad video, and I still bump into him. I bumped into him at the opening of the new USC school a few years ago, the School of Dance there at USC, the Kaufman School of Dance, I think it's called. But anyway, yeah, if people go in from the dance world into musical theater, and they go back and forth, not a lot. Actually, we have one member of our Hamilton company, Andrew, who was a modern dancer in the dance world and then moved into musical theater. And
But you were
I
telling
think
me how, and this is kind of important because people are going to be like, well, how do I break in? And you were, I mean, what, as you were explaining, is like, it's basically you had this, you were in the circle, you were just there, and then one thing leads to another simply because you put yourself there, right? So
yeah,
how did you,
yeah.
what was your first break? How did you get that?
I mean, everybody has a different story about first breaks. And when I was starting out, it was really different. Things have changed, you know, in all these years. Now, if you go to the right school, you can get into the right, you know, casting director workshop, and they
Oh,
see
really?
you, and maybe you get an agent out of that workshop. And you know, when I started out, that wasn't the case. When I started out, you go to New York, you start taking dance class at all the big dance studios where all the other Broadway dancers are taking dance class. And then you pick up backstage newspaper, and you go to the open equity calls for every show. I remember my first open equity call was for Cats, the national tour, right after Cats had opened on Broadway. And I had 4 callbacks. I got really close to booking Cats, but I didn't. And I just kept going to open calls. And that's still the case nowadays for a lot of young dancers and musical theater types. They go to New York and they take dance classes, and they take voice lessons, and they take acting classes, and they get that picture and resume ready, and they go to open calls. And if you're talented and you're lucky, sometimes you get an equity show, a union show from an open call. It's tough, and you have to hit that pavement. And sometimes, getting to know, being in the right place at the right time. I was mentioning to you before that I booked this HBO commercial, and I met a dancer on that show who said, "Hey, you'd be right for the show. And one of the guys is leaving the show, and they're having auditions at the theater, and you should go." And that's how I got my first Broadway show, by somebody suggesting that I go audition. And I showed up at the theater and auditioned, and that night I got the job. And that's how I got my first Broadway show.
The more people you know, the more you work, the more you hear, and the more
Exactly. Yeah, you're in the mix. You have to be in the mix, and you have to network. And nowadays that involves, as you know, uh, social media, and getting followers, and putting out videos of yourself singing, and putting out videos of yourself dancing, and putting out videos of yourself acting. I mean, there's all that stuff that's going on now that wasn't going on when I started, but is the new reality of how to get into the business.
Really? Okay.
And when young people ask me, how do I get started? And I say, well, in your hometown, get involved, do the school musicals, but get involved with the community theater in any way you can. If you want to be an actor, but there isn't a role for you, do this, work on the sets. I worked on sets in community theater. I helped my mom. She was a makeup artist too, and so I helped with makeup, and I did lights. I did all kinds of stuff just to be in the room,
right?
Just to see other people work, to network, to meet people. And I'm glad I did, because I kind of know my way around all the different elements of theater. I know what a Lico is. I know, what all the different microphones are that they use in theater. And I always befriend the crew. I think as an actor, we tend to be insular and
really
hang out with just the actors. I hang out with the crew. The crew knows what's up. The crew knows where the good bars are in town. They, the crew is, and they're the ones that watch your back when you're on the road.
Now, you were explaining to me, and I didn't know the difference between, because you as the King George, you have 2 understudies, but there's also swing actors. Explain to me how that all works.
So in the show, usually you have the ensemble, which is what we used to call the chorus.
Yeah.
And then you have the leads. And in the ensemble, you usually have 2 male swings and 2 female swings. So those individuals are not in the show nightly, but they literally understudy all the females, understudy all the females, and the males understudy all the males. And that's usually the case. They have 2 male and 2 female. In Hamilton, we have 4 female swings and 4 male swings. I think I'm right, 3 or 4. We have a lot. And that's because Hamilton is such a beast of a show. It's so hard physically. People get injured, people get tired.
It's like being a professional athlete. It's no different.
Yeah, and you're doing it 8 times a week, and after years, it's repetitive motion for a lot of dancers. So I always tell those dancers, don't just do the show. Go and do yoga. Go do a dance class, because you have to work your muscles a different way. Otherwise, you're going to get repetitive motion injuries. Like the same person that screws on the, back in the day when they screwed on the toothpaste cap every day, that those muscles every day, all day long, are going to get messed up.
But do they have like a trainer or a doctor on set at all times?
We have a personal a PT, physical therapist on tour with us. Most heavy dance shows will have that on tour, because they need the upkeep. The dancers, especially in this show, work so hard they need somebody to help them recover from injury, and just keep their bodies tuned up.
And so let's say you're in Hamilton, let's say you're a swing or whatever, and then you're on tour. They give you a per diem, or do they put you up in housing? What is that
Yeah.
really like to be?
So let me, I'm going to finish the whole understudy thing, because you have the swings, and then you have the understudies, which are people in the chorus who understudy the leads. But then you also have standbys, and the standbys aren't in the show, but they're backstage, and they understudy anywhere between 2, 3, 4 different characters. And so at the drop of the hat, they can say, hey, you're on tonight for Burr, or you're on tonight for Hamilton. It can happen 5 minutes before the show. You can know way in advance, because you know that character's going on vacation, and stage management has told you, oh, you're going to do the first 5 of the vacation, or the first 4, and somebody else is going to do the other 4. So you may know ahead of time, and you can ask, or tell your friends and family to come see you do that role, because you know ahead of time. But many times you find out last minute that somebody is sick, or doesn't feel, or hurt their knee or whatever. Or even in the middle of the show, sometimes somebody will twist an ankle, and boom, we have a new Burr in Act 2. It's happened, not a lot, but it's happened often enough that the understudies come in warmed up and ready to go.
But you were explaining to me, even before every performance, even though you've done the same freaking songs for 900 times, you still mentally prepare yourself. You go through, you rehearse each song that you go through, so you walk yourself through it. But I can't even imagine if you, how do you prepare yourself for 4 different roles, possibly? How do you do that? It seems like it's crazy.
Yeah, I know some of them will go over like difficult passages in the show, because there's moments in the show, like for Lafayette, he's got in Guns and Ships, he's got some rap that is so fast.
Yeah.
I know the understudies will go over those, what we call the moments when you can trip up. You go over those moments before you go on. But the rest, you can't go through the entire show.
Right.
You just pick and choose those moments where you can like go backstage and just go over your words and make sure they're under your belt. I go over my words because I sing the same tune 3 times, but with different lyrics.
Right.
And the trap is to sing the wrong lyric in the wrong song, which I have done, and there's nothing more embarrassing and gut-wrenching than to sing the wrong lyric in the wrong song. And you just have to find your way back, and they call it walking into the white room. And because literally it will happen, and your mind will explode, your armpits will explode with sweat, your eyeballs will get this big, your throat will dry. It is fight or flight moment.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to like try to grasp the right lyric, and you're literally in a white room, and you're going, oh shit, how do I get back?
Right.
And for me, it's a little easier because my song is nice and slow. But can you imagine being Hamilton and you're rapping a mile a minute and you go into the white room?
And do you guys talk about that?
Yeah. Famously on Broadway, there was something called Burr's Corner, which was, I forget who started it, but I think they told them not to do it anymore. It was something where they would post on Instagram or Facebook, so and so said this instead of what they should have said, basically coming out and owning your faux pas during a live show.
Right.
I remember when I did Man of La Mancha with Robert Goulet on tour, he used to make up lyrics sometimes, and one of the guys in the show started jotting them down, and at the end of the tour they basically roasted him at the closing night party with all the lyrics that he made up throughout the entire thing, and he was not amused.
I was gonna say,
Robert Goulet was not amused with that one. But my favorite faux pas of his was, we were in Nashville and he started singing Impossible Dream, and he sang, to dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to carry moonbeams home in a jar.
And everyone's like, what?
That's a Bing Crosby song. Oh, would you carry moonbeams home in a jar? It's an old Bing Crosby song, and he just pulled that lyric out of nowhere and inserted it into the Impossible Dream, and everybody backstage just went, huh?
What do you say? Oh my God,
What?
that's hilarious.
But
I-
I might be roasting Robert Goulet at the moment, but everybody's had those moments, and
yeah.
especially in Hamilton, it happens because the words are coming fast and furious, and boy, if you miss that train or you screw up, oh, it's hard to get back on.
And I imagine
But you do. Everybody does.
if
Everybody
you
does.
do it one too many times, are you looking at unemployment?
Mm-mm. No,
Really?
no. Yeah, I mean, nobody does it one too many times.
Uh-huh.
I mean, some understudies have more bumps in the road than others,
Uh-huh.
but we give them a lot of grace because being an understudy is really hard.
Yeah.
And so when somebody's on as an understudy, everybody has their side view,
Mm-hmm.
just because they might be in the wrong spot in a certain moment or cross a little differently than the usual guy. So you just have to have some grace. Don't get upset if they're in the wrong spot. Just maybe nudge them a little bit or pull them or just watch out for them and don't bump into them because
Right.
somebody is on. Because I've understudied in so many shows, I have a lot of empathy for understudies and swings. But I in my experience, and I've been in a ton of shows, I haven't been around somebody who's messed up so much that they've gotten fired. Usually when somebody's not up for the task, creatives know during rehearsals that they're not cutting it, and
Uh-huh.
then so somebody will get let go.
Right.
The only other time I remember somebody lost their voice and took time off and came back and lost their voice again, and it was just a situation where they couldn't do the job.
Wow.
Their voice just couldn't hack it, and so you know those are tough and difficult moments. They don't happen often, but it happens.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
you were also telling me, which I thought was fascinating, is that your character, because he's the king, you were talking, how your character has evolved. You playing the same exact part has evolved over all these years of you playing it.
Yeah, it's been a gift. I've realized early on that theater really is my thing. Even though I did some TV and film when I moved to LA, I didn't really love the work.
Right.
It sort of felt a little bit empty, just in the sense that you sit in a trailer for hours and hours, and then you get a couple of rehearsals and you shoot and you're done, and that's it. And it's out there for posterity, and
Yep.
you walk away from the gig going, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. But in theater, you get to redeem yourself every night. Whether
Yeah.
if you screwed up the night before, you make it better the next night, and I love that about theater. And so for for me, I just get better over time. And people say, "Oh, but don't you get tired 8 times a week, a year?" I don't. I like to tell people that it's almost like being a potter. You have the same, square block of clay, and you're making that same pot, but every time you're doing something a little bit different, and you're learning from the yesterday when you made that pot. Today you're making the same pot, but you learned something new, or you discovered something new making this pot. It's still the same pot, but you may be doing a little filigree or a little curve here or a little something different. So every night you get to shape this pot a little bit differently, and that's, for me, that's the beauty of it. That's the challenge. I remember early on with this character, I was in rehearsals, and uh, the um, the associate director, Patrick Vassal, said, Rick, this is interesting. Most guys come in with a really large, over the top take on the king.
Hmm.
You're coming in with a very spare, low key take on it. I mean, we're going to build you up, which is usually not the case with this character, and build him up, not make him bigger, but just give him more depth.
Okay.
And that was the rehearsal process for me. And then when I started working with Thomas Kail, the director of Hamilton, right before we opened in Puerto Rico, he said the trick to this guy is to make him make him as simple and as small as possible, because the king can with one finger kill a whole community.
Right.
He just has to say those people are gone, and they're gone. So he doesn't have to do much. He has all this power. So that was like the best bit of information for me. And so the challenge is over time is to do less.
Right.
Still with all the homework that you've done and the character work that you've done, but do less. And I was telling you this before, that you walk out on stage
yeah.
and the audience goes crazy, and there's all this expectation, and sometimes you get suckered in by this adoring audience to do more.
Right.
But you have to fight that feeling and do less.
It
And
does.
that's
It sounds like though you got conflicting notes though. No, the director, the eight. It's just
well, I think because in rehearsal I was still sort of finding my way with him, and instead of making this broad foppish character, which is how somebody who starts with King George and thinks, oh, I'm just going to do this and make him big and foppish.
Right.
That's sort of a two-dimensional view of the king. And I came in with a lot of research about the guy and thinking, I don't want to make him this two-dimensional caricature.
Right.
I really want to make him a guy who is, number one, dangerous, who has a lot of power, and who is feeling jilted, but won't allow you can't break up with me.
Right.
I'm breaking up with you. That kind of dynamic in the first song specifically. And so I came in with that, and he said, that's great. Now we're going to just work and put more layers on him, but not necessarily make him bigger, but just give him more layers.
Let me ask you, because when you say, the analogy of making a pot, are you going into a performance thinking, I want to try this today? Or are you so into character you forget and somehow it organically arises?
I try to stay in the more organic realm, because I think that's where the really good stuff is, the stuff that just pops out of you.
But you can't make that happen. That's the problem.
Yeah, if I plan something, I feel like it feels fabricated a little bit.
Right.
And so I try not to, but sometimes I'll get a note we have a resident director that travels with us, and also sometimes the director or the associate director will show up to whatever city we're in, and will watch the show and give us notes and say, in this moment, maybe try this or try that. And so I really pay attention to those notes, and I try to implement them, but I try not to quote unquote fabricate them or think too much on it. I try to maybe the best thing that I can say is I'll try on my own 4 or 5 different ways to achieve that note. Okay, I can make him more dangerous in this section if I lean into this word, or if I take a pause, or whatever it is. I'll come up with 4 or 5 different ways to get the note across, and then let which one pops out when I do the performance. So I give myself some choices, so I don't pigeonhole myself into a specific choice, which then feels fabricated and fake.
Right. But do you ever get into the part and then notice, oh, I just slipped out of it. I'm observing myself now. I'm not in the part.
Happens all the time.
And what do you do? How do you get back in?
The words. The text will save you. For every writer out there, thank you, because the text will save you. You have to get back into what it is you're saying. When you
But the words are in your head. You're not reading something. They're in your head.
You're in your head. But in your head, I've been doing it so long that I can be in the middle of my performance and going, that wasn't good.
Right.
Like I'll be criticizing myself while I'm doing it.
But that's not good. Now you're out of character.
Now I'm out of character. Now I'm in my head.
Right.
And the first thing that I'll do is I'll bite something. I'll bite a word, or I'll make a gesture, or basically I'll snap myself out of that.
Do it.
I guess I didn't silence my phone.
That's okay. So
Interesting enough, that's the resident director of Hamilton just texted me.
he can wait. It's not important.
No, she,
She.
luckily,
Good.
it's just she. Yes.
Better.
Sherry Eden Barber, amazing director.
So that's my next question though. I want to talk about that. But so all right, so you snap so you get back into it with something physical, a gesture,
physical or vocal, yeah, or some different intention. Yeah, just mix it up.
Right.
Mix it up. Yeah, do something different. That's going to get you out of your head.
Right. I mean, I would think that would be my fear is going up, forgetting what's my line?
Oh, it is. That's every actor's fear, and if anything keeps me nervous, it's the fear of messing up. But and people say, "Oh, how do you get over being nervous?" And I always say, how do you get to Carnegie Hall?
Yeah.
Practice, practice, practice. Confidence comes from I can sing that song with another song playing over a loudspeaker. That's how well I know that song.
Really, with another song playing?
There's another song playing over the loudspeaker, and I can sing my song while that song is playing. That's how much in the bones in my cell that song is. So I just have to, I rehearse. Do
you think it's possible to over rehearse?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, every actor is different. For me, my comfort, what gives me my comfort zone is, and gives me confidence, is feeling like I know this inside out, left, right. I know I know this. I got this.
Uh-huh.
That's how I get there.
But you don't feel that way in opening night because you haven't done it 900 times.
No, you haven't done it 900 times. So you just I go back to my yoga, and I do some deep breathing, and I try to focus on the intentions of the character. What is he trying to do?
Do you sometimes kick yourself? Like, do you feel like, oh, I wasn't in the Tonight Show? I tried. I wasn't in it. I wasn't in it.
Oh yeah, I walk off stage sometimes and go, oh, that was terrible, or whatever. I'm my worst critic.
Right.
And sometimes I walk away and go, oh, that was good.
Right, because you're just lost.
I don't pat myself on the back as often as I should.
Uh-huh.
I'm usually more critical of myself, and and now I try to not beat myself up as much as I used to. I try to be a little kinder to myself, but yeah, I totally walk away sometimes going, oh, that was not your best.
and so these directors, like, what's their job? Because they didn't direct the show. The show has been choreographed, it's been directed. Now they're just there every night to make sure it doesn't go off the rails.
Yeah, pretty much
fine-tune things.
Yeah, and the really good ones, like our resident director Sherry, they're there to keep it fresh, and so she's constantly feeding you ideas. Hey, what if we do this? What if we do that? How about and that's she's great at bringing new ideas to something that we've been doing for 4 years.
But I'm not sure how much I would want to hear that if I were you. Like, what I'm saying? Like, this is what you love that.
I love it. I love trying new stuff. I love messing about with that pot that I'm creating. Oh, why don't you do a lip on the top? Oh yeah, do it. We'll curl out the lip on the top. I've never done that before. Why don't we do that? I did something a few months ago at the end of the song. In the song, I famously, I should say, the king famously says, "And no, don't change the subject." And he points at somebody in the audience, and it's a rare moment where he gets upset. And that's if you've seen the Disney Plus, Jonathan Groff famously just spits all over the place. It's an explosion of saliva, and it's a brilliant moment. I think his take on the king is wonderful, and he sings it so well. And I usually they want you to usually point in sort of the same area of you can point anywhere, but they usually say point over here, and I always point over there. And then one night, this is maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, one night at the end of the song, I went, I'm watching you.
Uh-huh.
Like I pointed to my eyes and I pointed to that person who I had pointed to earlier in the song, and no, don't change the subject, as if that's my one nemesis in the room. And I'm just saying, I'm watching you. And it got such a reaction that I've
Right.
kept it. It's been my new little bit until I decide I don't want to, or until, the associate director walks in and goes, you know what? I don't like that thing that you do at the end. Cut it. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, it's gone.
Right.
We'll think of
Right.
something else. You know, there's always something that I
Right.
can think of, and that's the fun part. That I can always improve it. I can always make it better. I can always have fun with it.
Hey, it's Michael Jamin. If you like my videos and you want me to email them to you for free, join my watch list. Every Friday, I send out my top 3 videos. These are for writers, actors, creative types. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. I'm not going to spam you, and it's absolutely free. Just go to michaeljamin.com/watchlist. I'm surprised I'm curious, like, about you allowing yourself to watch, Jonathan Groff's version as opposed, is that, what's that like?
So
Because the character's
John,
yours now.
yeah, I saw him do it originally on Broadway when I saw the show in previews, and then of course I saw him do the Disney Plus version. And then when we were in rehearsals in 2018 for our company, we were the third national tour to go out. When we were in rehearsals, they said, "Oh, you can go stand back at the back of the house at the Richard Rodgers and watch the Broadway company." And at that point, the king was Ian. I'm forgetting Ian's last name, but I think he's still the king right now. He's been there for a long time. He's brilliant as the king. And I watched him play the king while I'm in rehearsals for the king.
Right.
And for me, I wish I could see all the kings, because
Really?
they all do something different. And the stuff that's really good, you want to steal it, man. You want to
But
go,
but
that's
can you?
brilliant. I never thought of that.
But can
Steal
you
from the
take it?
best, baby. Steal from the
Stuff from the
best.
best.
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, you got to make it your own. You can't do the exact same thing.
Right.
But if for me, it feeds me as an actor. I'm like, oh, what a cool idea. I can do a version of that,
Right.
or that makes me think of something else. I love it.
Do you get together and talk with the other kings at all?
I've met the king that's on Zoom. Actually, I haven't met him in person, but the guy Peter Matthews, who does the Angelica tour, and he's been doing it for a while. Most of the kings, it's a nice gig, so
Yeah.
you stick around,
Right.
as long as you want to, or as long as they'll have you.
Right.
And Hamilton's been really great about letting us stay. But Peter's really a funny guy. And I haven't gotten to see his king because obviously I'm doing it at another part of the country while he's doing it. But I would love to see him play the king.
Really?
Yeah. And Rory O'Malley, who played it here in LA, he did the first national. I think a Tony winner for Book of Mormon. Fantastic guy. I met him in San Francisco when he came to see our company. I'd love to see his king, because he's a great singer, and everybody's got their take on him, and I find it fascinating to see what somebody does with this character.
Right, because there's so much. Yeah, that's so much. How much you can constantly reinvent it.
Fun role, and
but you still got to remain true to what the words are and what the intention of the words, but it still can be interpreted while still being true to those words.
Which is the beauty of Hamilton, and I give a lot of credit to the creative team, is that yes, you have to sing the words and sing the melody, but you get a lot of creative license to make it your own. And so if you see our company of Hamilton and then you see the Broadway company of Hamilton, it's almost like two different shows.
Right.
It's the same show, but because you have different actors in those roles, it's pretty remarkable, the difference in the companies.
And tell me a little more about some of the other Broadway and traveling, because you've had such a resume, man, such a resume.
Well, I started back in the 80s as a chorus boy and doing some really cool shows. Man of La Mancha, The Goodbye Girl,
The Goodbye Girl,
Leader of the Pack. I did In the Heights on Broadway for a couple of years. That's when I actually did a workshop of In the Heights in 2005 with Lin-Manuel Miranda and the whole gang, and I got to meet them back then. So they've been good, loyal friends since then, and have kept me employed for many years. Hats off to them. Uh, oh, I do have hair, by the way, but it
Okay.
was kind of messy, so I put on my hat
You could have worn your wig,
earlier.
your powdered wig.
Oh yeah, I usually wear powdered wig.
Yeah, I'm always in character.
Yeah, actually, I have a few weeks off right now, which is why I'm home in LA,
Right.
because we just did Hawaii, and the show had to pack up and be put on a ship to come back to the
Oh,
US. So
oh,
they
so it's
shipped the
transit.
show, and that's how it got to Puerto Rico too, which is why it makes it kind of difficult to send those shows to the islands,
Islands.
because they have to ship it.
But even still, how long does it take to set up for them to build, build the set?
Well, the shipping of it takes about 2 weeks.
All right, but once you're
But then once it all gets there, our crew can put the setup in day and a half.
wow, okay.
It's like it's all been carefully crafted. It's like Lincoln Logs, everything fits together.
But stages are different sizes. That's what I don't understand.
Well, they ahead of time, the production management and company management, they sit together and they go, okay, these are the cities that we're doing, which is the smallest theater we're in.
Uh-huh.
That those are our dimensions. We can't get bigger than that.
But you can
So
put a smaller on a bigger on a stage. You can put a
yeah,
smaller.
yeah. And the show was made for the Richard Rodgers, which is a pretty small theater. I mean, it's an old 1920s Broadway theater
Uh-huh.
that seats about 1,300, so it's
Right.
pretty small. And the stage backstage is kind of small too. So most of the theaters that we go to on the road are much bigger than the Richard Rodgers. So they
Okay.
just do black baffling on the sides and just make it more of a letterbox, and it works. It works
Right.
as long as we're not in a place that's smaller than our set. And some shows have what they call a jump set, which means that while we're in one city, we have a second set that goes to the next city and gets built, and so that we close in Boise on a Sunday and we open in Salt Lake City on a Tuesday.
But let's
That's
say
one day.
But let's say that you're doing a dance number and the stage is this big and you're the dancer, okay, it's 6 pace steps to get my next mark. On a bigger stage, isn't it more steps or no?
No, because you're regardless of the size of the stage, your set, it remains the same.
Okay, so no one will go out of that. Yeah.
No, yeah, we'll never stretch it.
Right.
The set itself never gets stretched. If anything, the theater will come in with black what they call the legs. Those are, a break a leg comes from,
No.
literally, they used, break a leg is good luck, but it literally means the legs are those black drapes that come down in the front and also in each wing.
Okay.
So when you go on stage, sometimes you have to move that drapery to get on stage, or if you're going to go in front of the curtain, you move it with your arm, you break the leg.
So you're not literally okay, so you're
not literally breaking a leg,
breaking
you're just
anything.
parting the drapery to go on stage.
So this is very interesting. This is gonna be
yeah. That's a little theater trivia for the folks out there.
Fascinating. Now, okay, so on a regular day, you go to a town, your new city or whatever, and they give you a per diem to buy lunch and get an apartment or what?
The union sets a weekly per diem, and that is for you to spend as you wish. And then also company management, way ahead of time, will say we have 3 or 4 different hotels that we've negotiated a special deal for, and you choose which one you want to stay in, and these are the prices and these are the amenities, and people choose from that list of hotels. But a lot of people nowadays are doing Airbnb, especially on a tour where you sit in a city for 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. The shortest stays we've ever had have been 2 weeks, but we've done 6 weeks. And so a lot of people do Airbnbs because you have a kitchen and you have a washer dryer and more,
But is staying in a hotel more fun? Is that dorm living? Is that more fun for the cast?
I don't think it's more fun for them. Some stay in the hotel because it'll be right next to the theater, and that's convenient, especially if we are in Denver and it's 7 degrees outside. Living right near the theater is really cool when the weather's bad. but most people, a lot of people nowadays, they're getting Airbnbs and they're rooming together. So 3 or 4 people can get a really cool house
But I'm
somewhere.
picturing, I,
And they save money because they're rooming together.
right.
So the rent, their ability to pay rent. I mean, now they can use their per diem to live on, not just for their place to stay. They can. They can
Have you shared apartments or no? Does the king have his own place now?
I'm too old to
You're
have
too for that
roommates,
crap.
man. I had roommates in my 20s and 30s. I'm done.
But
The only
okay,
roommate I have is my wife, and
you're right. But
she's not really my roommate.
so my naive opinion of what it must be like is like in high school when you're in the play, it's like, or even at a high school, community, you're like, hey, it's the group or the gang, we're doing everything together. But once you become a pro, that's not the way it is, huh? It's not like
It is at first.
it
There's the
is
honeymoon phase.
real. Okay, where you're like
There's a
hanging
honeymoon
out
phase where
together.
we all just meet and, oh, I know that person. We did a show together a
Right.
long time ago. And so we become a little bit of a clique. And then the cliques start happening early on, but we're one big happy
Right.
family. And we have opening night parties and all that occurs early on. But then the cliques really start creating,
Right.
the people, certain people start to hang out together. We had our company's called And Peggy, because each separate tour has a different name. There's the Angelica tour, the Philip tour. These are characters in the show.
Right.
And Peggy is the third Schuyler sister. So we became the third company. So we're called the And Peggy tour. And there's a group of us, we're called the And Peggy Alpine Club. And it's literally a bunch of us who like to hike and do outdoorsy stuff. We went snowboarding and skiing a lot in the winter. A lot of us got scuba certified for our
Wow.
Hawaii stay,
Wow.
and we've done incredible hikes all over the place. So that's our little clique. But also, people that are married
Right.
and on tour together, or there's a few people that have kids on tour. They get together a lot.
Oh,
So
they bring their kids on tour with them?
yes, there's some people that do that. Yes.
But
Some
like little
some
kids or like high school age? Like you can't be like a high school age kid.
no, most of them have young kids. You got to understand, I'm working with a bunch of 20 and 30-year-olds, and
Right.
I'm the oldest guy by far in the company.
What's that like being the oldest guy in the company?
Oh, I love it. I used
You
to be the
love it.
youngest guy, then I was, in the same age as everybody. I love it because as a king too, I have plenty of time to sort of mentor everybody.
Yeah.
And so I've become a little bit of I'm the cheerleader. I check in on everyone. I say, how you doing? I used to be a massage therapist. So anytime people are having issues, I'm close friends with our physical therapist that tours with us. So we work on people sometimes together in tandem.
What is it they're worried? What is it they want mentoring at the career strategy? Like what,
Sometimes it's career strategy. Sometimes it's just dealing with personalities in
Oh,
theater. Sometimes there's some headbutting.
really?
Um, Sometimes people are just having problems with a particular an understudy's having a problem with a new character that they're understudying, or there's issues on stage with somebody who doesn't quite know where they're supposed to stand at a certain point.
Right.
And all that is internal stuff that should be worked out with the dance captains and the stage management and the resident director. But you know unfortunately, actors, we have huge egos, and they're also very fragile egos. And so there's a bit of nuance involved, and people get their panties in a twist. And I'm usually the guy that comes around and talks people off the ledge sometimes. And
I would imagine it'd be very hard, even especially for the new guy or the new woman coming in,
yeah, and I tend to be the welcome wagon too. You're the
right.
new one. Come on, I'm the king. I'll show you the ropes.
Wow.
So that's I like taking that mantle, not just because I'm the king, but also because I'm sort of the senior member of the
Right.
company. And I've been around the block, and people have asked me, I'm sick and tired of show business. I want to do something else. And I'm like, I hear that. I've had that conversation many, many times in my career.
Interesting. So why? Yeah, I would think You see, right? You've made the touring company of Hamilton. That's pretty much the peak, for
And a lot of
theater.
them want to do Broadway, so they're still focused on doing that Broadway show. And some of them have done Broadway, have done the tour, and they want to settle down and meet somebody and have a
Right. So they
family and all
want
that kind of
to,
stuff.
is that what the problem is? They're done with the business. What's the problem?
Well, I mean, you know, we've got the new kids who are just starting out who want to know about, how do I get my foot in Broadway, and there's
Right.
those kids, and then there are the ones that have been around for a while who want to maybe transition out of the business and want some. There was one girl who was interested in massage therapy,
Oh, wow.
and I said, "You want to become a masseur? Okay, well, this is what you need to do." And matter of fact, the union has something called what is it called? Career Transition for Dancers, which is a program
Wow.
where you can get grants to do some further education. So if you want to learn how to be a massage therapist,
Wow.
get a grant through the union. And I know some of this stuff, so I can impart some of that knowledge. And for the young kids who, I want to get on Broadway. I'm like, okay, well, to get on Broadway, you have to be in New York. And while you're on tour,
Can't
it's
do
kind of
that.
hard to get into that audition for that Broadway show.
But are you still in those circles? I mean, it seems like I don't know. It seems like you must know. I don't know. I guess I'm completely wrong. If you were, a dancer on the touring company Hamilton, it seems like it wouldn't be that hard to find out about an audition on Broadway, and certainly wouldn't be that hard to get a job because you're obviously really good.
Yeah, and we've had a few people leave our tour to go do a Broadway show. I mean, actually, we just lost like two or three people. One girl is doing Bad Cinderella. She left our show to do Bad Cinderella, which is a new Broadway show, a new Andrew Lloyd Webber show.
Uh-huh.
Another guy just left our show to do the Kander and Ebb New York, New York. That's opening on Broadway soon. So that does happen. Luckily, with the advent of auditioning remotely via
Right.
video, that's helped things out a lot nowadays. So that if you're in Portland on tour, you can send in an audition via video for something back in New York.
Of
But
even
it
dancing,
does
you can like
happen,
you pull the camera back and you do some dance steps. I mean, is that what you do?
yeah, or sing a song or read a scene,
Okay.
depending on what's needed. And sometimes you are able to take a personal day and fly back to New York and audition for something.
Right.
Yeah,
Because I would think, and I don't know, obviously I don't know. I would think that if you're in the touring company of Hamilton, you're practically on Broadway, and it's almost the same circles, except this is where
true,
the job is.
true. But if you've been on tour for a year, you'd like to settle down and
Right.
stop living out of a suitcase.
It
I
is hard
get
to be
that.
on the road.
Or
Yeah.
you've been doing Hamilton for a while and you just want to do something different. You know,
Yeah.
there's those kids, they're hungry. They want to do different stuff. They don't want to
Yeah.
be on tour on Hamilton for 4 years like I have. But I've done a lot of stuff. And
Yeah. Let's talk about let's talk about some other, I think we got off track of your other Broadway shows and off Broadway, and not touring shows rather.
well, I started out young in the biz at 10 because my mom was a drama teacher. And then I sort of worked my way through community theater and children's theater and all that. And then I was a concert dancer in college and
For
studied.
who?
Well, I in college I studied modern dance and ballet, but when I got out of college, I was an intern with the Paul Taylor Dance Company briefly
Uh-huh.
until I realized this is a lot of hard work and very little money.
Right.
And all my friends that were doing Broadway shows were making, back in 1985, Broadway minimum was $750 a week.
Right.
And the dancers in the Paul Taylor Dance Company were, at that time in 1985, were maybe making 500, 600 a week. They were
Right.
making less.
Right.
And, that's just the economics of the dance world. But, the Broadway kids were making more money.
Right.
And I could sing, and that's really where I wanted to be. So, yeah, I ended up booking a jukebox musical in '85 called Leader of the Pack.
Hmm.
Um, and it's funny, if you've worked in the business as long as I have, there's people that you meet along the way who go to, who later on in life become super famous. So
Right.
the vocal arranger for leader of the pack is a guy named Mark Shaman, who went on to write Hairspray
Right.
and Catch Me If You Can and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And his new show on Broadway is God Almighty, what's Some Like It Hot is his new
Right.
show on Broadway. So
Oh,
Mark
wow.
Shaman is an old friend of mine who I've known forever,
Wow.
who started way back then. My dance captain in my second Broadway show, which was The Mystery of Evan Drood, was um, Rob Marshall. So he went on to direct Chicago the movie and Into the Woods the movie, and
Which you were in.
Nine. Yeah, I was in Chicago the movie. I was lucky. That was a very odd thing. I had worked with him on a version of Annie for Disney. And so it's not the old Carol Burnett film Annie. It's a Disney TV version of Annie that they did with Victor Garber.
Yes, because
and Audra
we owned
Montgomery.
we watched that a million times because we had the VHS.
I'm one of the dancers in it, and that was Rob Marshall's first directorial, big directorial job. And from the success of that, is they took a leap of faith with him and gave him Chicago the movie, which went on to win the Oscar.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, and so I got to work on that film. And what else? I did another big bomb called Legs Diamond that closed the Mark Hellinger forever.
Right.
It became a church after that. I did Man of La Mancha with Raul Julia on Broadway. I did The Goodbye Girl, which was another big bomb musical. It was starring Bernadette Peters and Martin Short, who were both brilliant in it, but it was just a misguided musical.
Right.
And we thought it was going to be a huge success because it was Gene Sachs, the guy that directed all of Neil Simon's plays on Broadway, was a director, and Marvin Hamlish did the music, and Graziella Danielle, an incredible choreographer, was doing the. We thought it was going to be this huge hit, and it was not. And that just happens sometimes. These big musicals, you think they're going to do incredibly well, and they don't. Right. But after Goodbye Girl, I think that's when I moved to LA and met my wife. I wanted to delve into the TV and film world. And then I went back and did a tour of Man of La Mancha with Robert Goulet. Great stories about that. Right. And then I was always in the chorus and understudying the lead. And then finally I thought, I need to be a lead. And I remember I was in LA and I got a phone call from a director choreographer named Sergio Trujillo, who choreographed Jersey Boys, and he won the Tony Award recently for Ain't Too Proud, and wonderful old friend of mine. He danced in Chicago the movie with me, and he called me out of the blue and he said, "Hey Rick, I'm working on this workshop for this is 2005, working on this little workshop called In the Heights, and we're doing a workshop at the O'Neill Center in New London, Connecticut, which is where all of August Wilson's plays were workshopped there. And at the time, In the Heights got the producers of Rent and Avenue Q to back them, and they had workshopped both those shows at the O'Neill Center. So he said, "It's at the O'Neill." I'm like, "Oh, no money workshop gig."
Is it literally a no money workshop gig? Is that what that means? It's literally no money?
I mean,
no money.
Nowadays, the union has some workshops where you get a little bit of a stipend. It's a little bit of money.
But explain what a workshop is.
Back in those days, workshops are no money.
But explain what a workshop is.
So workshop is you have a new piece of theater, and whether it's a straight play or a musical, and it's not baked, it's not ready yet. And so the creative team will take it to a theater, or will just workshop it in a rehearsal room, and literally bring in actors, listen to it, work on it over the period of a week.
But there's they have an audience though, right?
Sometimes at the end of the workshop, they'll do a presentation, and it'll be what we call, books in hand sometimes, because you didn't have enough time to get off book, no sets, no costumes.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you do it with like a music stand in front of you, or you do maybe a little bit of choreography to give an idea of what the dancing will be like. Some short workshops take weeks, some usually only a week. But
so they expect you to come, fly there, put yourself up.
Well, they put us up at the O'Neill. They put us up at it was some college dorm right outside, like Connecticut College. I forget where we were staying.
Right.
But it was probably then the only reason I said yes was because Sergio Trujillo sent me a CD of the music of In the Heights. And when I heard it, I said, this is fantastic.
Right.
I got to be a part of this.
Right.
And luckily I said yes. I got, I got to Connecticut. I worked on it. I got to meet all those people, and I knew some of the actors from other jobs that I had done. And it was a wonderful experience. And these are friends that I've had now for many, many years. And, young Lin-Manuel Miranda back then, fresh out of college, now he's like this mega star, soon to be EGOT, I think.
He was fresh out of college when he did that?
Yeah, In the Heights was his college, like project, his senior project. Yeah.
I see. I don't even understand how someone of all the things to become a playwright for Broadway, like that almost seems like the craziest. Forget about being a screenwriter. Like that sounds even more far-fetched. Like there's 3 jobs,
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. And I mean, kudos to his parents, who sort of, they had those Broadway albums in the house,
Right.
So he marinated and I think when he saw Rent, was the thing that, like, Jonathan Larson was the big catalyst in him that said, I can do that.
Right.
And he went to college and realized that if I'm going to make it, I have to write my way out. And it's similar to, I think he has that in common with Hamilton, that in order to find success, he had to write his own project. That was In the Heights.
Right. He had to write.
And how did Hamilton get out of his situation? He wrote this incredible thing
Right.
on this hurricane that hit the islands, and that's how he was sent to New York.
Encouraging people to write.
And that's the connection he made with hip hop. He said when he read Hamilton, the book, he said Hamilton wrote his way out of his situation the same way a rapper writes his way out of poverty into success.
Right.
And then he made that connection, which is brilliant. And, when we heard about the idea, we were doing Heights when he came back from rehearsal after reading the book, and he said, I'm going to write a musical about a rap musical about Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
We were like,
right.
Wait, what?
And how long were you on in the Heights?
So I wasn't the original guy that they chose for Broadway. At the time, I did audition for the Broadway company. There were other guys that had done other workshops.
Yeah.
And John Herrera had done most of the workshops, and he did off Broadway. But for whatever reason, they decided to re-audition for the Broadway company. And they chose a guy named Carlos Gomez, who's actually a friend of mine, wonderful stage and screen actor. He's done a lot of TV and film, lives here in LA. And they told me, Rick, we love you, but we think you look too young to play the role. They were kind of straight up with me.
Right.
And I said, okay, I get that. Fine. And then literally after that, I got my first lead role in a musical, which was one of the dads in Mamma Mia in Vegas.
Right.
Yeah, play Sam Carmichael, who sing. It's the Pierce Brosnan role in the film. And while I was doing Mamma Mia in Vegas, In the Heights was happening off Broadway, and then it went to Broadway. And Carlos unfortunately lost his voice about 8 months into the run, and they had to replace him. And I fortunately auditioned yet again, and got the job, and ended up doing Broadway for 2 years. And my incredible wife moved out to New York with me for the second year that I was there.
It's hard. It's hard. That the life of a theatrical actor is.
Dude, when my niece told me she wanted to do this, I said, "Are you sure?"
But
it's not easy. It's gotta be the thing that gets you up in the morning. It's gotta be the thing that gets you through all that rejection and all the time you spend on the unemployment line.
But do you think it's harder to be harder to be a theatrical actor as opposed to a film or television? I mean, do you think that world is just harder?
No.
I
think they're both hard in their own way. They're both super difficult. And I mean, it's the life of an artist, dancers, that's hard. Being a visual artist, being a writer. I mean, how do you get started as a writer? How do you get that job? How do you get into that, to be on a TV show the way you have? I mean, that's hard.
But I still think there's of all the three, I think it's crazier to be an actor. It's like in terms of it's harder. Like there's more
It's more
stability.
subjective.
Well, but you're on a show. If you're a writer, you'll be on a show for the whole season, right? Okay. So
Right.
if you're an actor, you might be on one episode. Now
Yeah.
what? Now you got to find another job again.
Yeah. You're constantly looking for work.
Yeah.
And you talk to any actor, successful actor out there, and they'll tell you they get more no's than yeses.
Oh, sure. Sure.
It's a ton of rejection. You can't take it personally. And there's videos of great actors saying, it changed for me when success was not about getting the job. Success was about preparing for the audition and doing a good job in the audition. And if I did a great job at the audition, I'm successful. If I got the job, that's icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Once you make that shift, then the rejection and the no's stop crushing your soul.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's great advice. I hear it a lot. I think it's mandatory.
Yeah.
So what will be next? What will be next for you? Like, do you think about that?
Are you kidding? Constantly, especially now that I know the tour is ending. Because the tough part is, for me specifically, is that I'm at a certain age now where there's less roles.
There's less roles, but there's also being the dancing part is very physical. It's like being a professional athlete. It's
I hung up my capezios a long time ago.
So you won't even try that. You won't even,
not as a dancer. I mean, if there's a role where I need to dance,
right,
I will dance, of course. But I mean, my dancing ability is not what it was. Number one. I don't take dance classes anymore. I'm physically fit, but I can't do what I used to do in my 20s and 30s, or even 40s for that matter. But the thing for me now is that I'm living a very sort of odd reality of being a theater actor living in LA.
Yeah.
So I have 6 months to sort of put my feelers out there. Part of that is that when you have a year contract, agents aren't going to send you on an audition,
right?
Because you're kind of tied up, unless it's a one-off or a very short thing where you can take. And Hamilton famously or infamously lets us take time off to do other things. They're very kind that way. So that's why we also have many understudies, because people do go take a week off to do a workshop or take a week off to shoot a TV show. Our Aaron Burr, Donald Weber, has a reoccurring on Severance right now. So he took time off to shoot that once while we were on the road.
Wow, that's so interesting. But
yeah,
do you have separate...
but now that we have like that 6 months and it's going to end, now we can start putting wood on the fire for the next thing and start auditioning for something down the line.
Do you have a separate agent for theatrical versus film and television, or is it all one agent?
Most people do. Most people have somebody that represents them across the board. Some, it depends on the size of the agency you're with.
Right.
I'm currently don't have an agent. I sort of took a hiatus from the biz after In the Heights, and then Hamilton brought me back into the biz,
right,
so to speak. And so I didn't have an agent, got called directly, still had to audition, but got called directly because I know everybody involved. And so I haven't had to pay 10%, Yahoo. But I'm going to be knocking on some doors and making some phone calls, because I will be needing an agent to move the needle once this job ends. Yeah,
the life of it's so fat to me. It's like it really is. It's more. It's in a way it's more interesting than like a television or film actor, because I kind of know that world, but this world I know nothing of. But to me, it's so exciting because there's nothing like good theater. It's just not the same.
It's a whole nother animal, and it really is, because you can make magic with film and TV. There's magic there. But there's a certain kind of magic with a live audience and a live performance, doing it from beginning to end.
Yep.
That you can't, you can't find it anywhere else. There's that symbiotic thing between audience and actor that's just, it's a drug. and I've been hooked on it for a really long time.
One thing I've said is that, whatever, I like a TV show and be seen by a couple millions of people, or maybe less now because no one watches because the audience is so fragmented, maybe a couple 100,000 people. But to me, and that's great, and that's fun, but to stage something in a theater full of 50 people, like, I don't know, there's something really intoxicating about that you do not get from making a television show.
And as a creative person, as a writer, like the creators of Hamilton, they keep changing it. After the pandemic, they changed the choreography for the number that starts Act 2, which is What Did I Miss? Which is when Jefferson comes back from France and joins the new fledgling government of the United States. And the original choreography had the dancers were sort of like servants and very subservient to Jefferson. And Sally, his famous partner, who was a slave but was his partner. I'm forgetting her last name at the moment, but people out there in the podcast are screaming her last name right now. But there was a moment choreographically where she was subservient to him. And after the pandemic and what happened with the social justice movement after George Floyd, they decided to change the dynamic between the quote unquote servant slaves in the scene with Jefferson and make it less subservient and more supportive and not so much bowing to Jefferson.
But if they make any changes like that, do they have to run it by Lin? I mean,
oh yeah, that the whole team gets together and they talk about it and they had meetings,
right?
And Lin has always tinkered with In the Heights, and he's still tinkering with Hamilton. Not huge changes, but some small subtle changes. I remember when we went to Canada, they changed Weehawken because Canadians don't know where Weehawken is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they said he said New Jersey, or they just changed the lyric so that it would make better sense for the Canadians.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they did that in a couple of moments. I think Weehawken was one of them.
It almost feels sacrilege now that you say that. I was oh no, like because it's like, but you can't change it.
Yeah,
like you
but
can't
that's
change
the beauty of it. Film, it's done. It's
right.
That's it. You can't change it. But they can keep tinkering with a piece as long as they want to.
Right.
They can keep making it better, which is what I get to do.
Right. It's so fascinating. It
so
really
as a writer, that's kind of cool. You can do rewrites until the day you die.
But you see, that's the problem. Like, at some point you have to let it go and move on to your next piece. And so what you're saying, it doesn't appeal to me, actually. Like, it's so tempting to, but no, you have to let it go now. It's done, you know. But
because you could drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
So true. So true. I was going to tell you another story, which is pretty great. When I met Lin for the first time during that workshop of In the Heights, I don't usually come out and say, oh, I was in this or I was in that. I'm not one of those actors. I sort of let stories come out on their own, and I don't toot my horn too much. But I think I let it drop that I was in the bad video, and Lin's eyes like became wide as sausage. He goes, "You're in the bad video with Michael Jackson?" I said, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Wait 1 second." And literally we were in lunch someplace at the cafeteria at the O'Neill Center. And he gets into the rental car he had, he runs to, I don't know, Walmart, Target, whatever the closest place. He buys the DVD. He comes back. He puts it into his laptop, because in those days, you could play a DVD on your laptop. And he goes, "Okay, where are you in the video?" Pointing out to me. And then so I'm pointing him out. Oh, here I am next to Michael in this moment. And there I am. I jump over the turnstile there. And oh man. And then we did like 20 takes of this one scene. In one take, I did the funky chicken. And the minute I did it, I regretted it. And I'm like, oh, hopefully that won't be the take they use. Well, of course, that is the take they used. I can be seen doing the funky chicken.
Right.
Sort of next to Michael at a moment. And I pointed that out to Lin. So cut to, that's 2005. Cut to, I take over the role of the dad in the Heights on Broadway. This is about 8 months after they win the Tony Award for Best Musical. And it's I rehearsed for a week. It's not a huge role. I kind of knew it. I just rehearsed to get the staging. And it's my debut. I don't know what day of the week it was, but it's my first time on stage on Broadway doing this role. And I do my first entrance and I walk in and I go, "Good morning, Usnavi." And Lin-Manuel Miranda looks at me and goes, "Pan caliente, café con leche."
Oh, no.
He does the funky chicken in his first response to me at the top of the show.
How funny.
And I just looked at him like, "Oh, you son of a
You
gun.
dick.
You."
That's
he
hilarious.
knew I was enough of a professional to take it in, like, take it on the chin and keep going. And but that's the kind of fun,
Oh, wow.
loving, always playful guy that I've gotten to love and adore. And he really is a prince in the biz. He early on coined me the first Puerto Rican king. He was doing an interview with CBS morning show, and we were going to Puerto Rico, and he goes, "Oh yeah," and then Rick Negron, who's our first Puerto Rican king, and since then that's my Instagram
Yeah,
account.
I saw
One
that.
ST Puerto Rican king. Yeah.
You know
Thanks,
what?
man.
And people should follow you there. What? Yeah, give your Instagram handle.
Oh yeah. I'm at the number one ST Puerto Rican king all together now, all lowercase. And that's sort of my king account. I've got some great adventures on the road there posted. I did some really cool scuba diving stuff in Hawaii that I posted, night diving with manta rays.
Oh my God.
In Kona, some great hikes in Banff are there, and some interviews with some of the cast members, and I'm going to actually start interviewing some of the crew members too, so people can get an idea of what it's like backstage and what the head of the props does in Hamilton, and what
That's a great idea.
Yeah. I actually been tooling around with it for a while, and one of our Hamiltons that recently left the show, Julius, he did it with one of our lighting people. He did a whole like backstage interview.
Oh, great.
Did a great job with our friend Rachel. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a perfect place to. Rick, thank you so much. I've taken up a lot of your time. Unfortunately, some of it was wasted.
Dude, I can talk till the cows come home, as you know. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. This is just so eye-opening to me. I just had, again, I'm interested in awe. I'm in awe of your career, of what you've done.
Thank you.
So I want to continue, obviously, continue following as a fan. So
well, and I wish you the best of luck with all your future projects. I know you're working on a book, and and you have that show, and I can't wait to be in the house one day when you're doing your show and I can watch.
Yeah, when you're in town.
Yeah, Rick, when I'm in town. I'll be back in August.
You'll be thank you again, Rick. And I'll stop, but hang on, and I'll thank you again properly, privately. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. This was an interesting talk. For more, hang on next week. We'll have somebody as well. Thanks for listening. Okay, until the next one. Keep writing.
This has been an episode of Screenwriters Need to Hear This with Michael Jamin and Phil Hudson. If you'd like to support this podcast, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing this podcast with someone who needs to hear today's subject. For free daily screenwriting tips, follow Michael on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Michael Jamin Writer. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Phil A. Hudson. This episode was produced by Phil Hudson and edited by Dallas Crane. Until next time, keep writing.